Good morning. Today we're going to be talking about utilitarianism. Now, utilitarianism can be summed up in some pithy statements we can give you. For example, pleasure versus pain, the good versus the many. How about, the good of the many outweigh the good of the few, or the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. The pluses versus the minuses, the positives versus the negatives, the cost-benefit analysis. Now, this theory of good and evil, of what things mean to be good, what it means to be good, and what it means to be bad or evil. This was popularized by two people, Jeremy Bentham and John Stuart Mill. Now, let's talk about Jeremy Bentham first. Jeremy Bentham saw good and evil as a quantitative analysis of pleasure versus pain. And he gave each what he would call pleasure units the name hedons. So he would perform like a mathematical equation to some degree called hedonistic calculus. And let's say each pleasure principle was one hedon. It had the value of 1. And so what you wanted to have at the end of the day, at the bottom of your ledger, you would have more pleasure than you would have pain. And as a result, you can make your decisions of what the best choice was. For example, let's say you have the choice of, you can allow 5 people to live, or you can allow 10 people to live. Say you're in some kind of situation where you have to make this choice. You go, well, what's the best choice? You go, well, obviously the higher number is. They would be have a higher pleasure principle of getting to live versus the pain principle of those who had to die. I often also use in my classrooms is say chocolate, and I have people raise their hand. I say, who likes chocolate here? And everybody raises their hand except for a couple people, right? And so I want to maximize the number of chocolate. Let's say I have, a bag of 30 pieces. Now, I could give myself the 30 pieces, or I could spread it out, and I get 30 pleasure points, right? 30 hedons. And so there you go. You got 30 hedons, and it's better than just me getting my 1 if I didn't. Now, that's great if each pleasure point is only 1 point, if each act is only worth 1 point of pleasure. John Stuart Mill believed otherwise. He did not see these pleasure principles as only being 1 point. He made a distinction between qualitative pleasure and quantitative pleasure. And he said that some pleasures are just a higher order than other pleasures, that it was better to be Socrates dissatisfied than to be a fool satisfied, or better to be a human dissatisfied than a pig satisfied, saying that there are certain higher ordered pleasures that are qualitatively better, and some have higher values. Now, let's take the chocolate incident again and say, well, some people get a higher pleasure out of chocolate than others. And so let's say out of 10 people, I have 10 pieces. No, let's just reduce it to 2. Let's say I have 2 pieces of chocolate, and one person loves chocolate. And they give a 10, they get 10 points of pleasure out of it. And the other one is like, I kind of like chocolate. I give it a 5. And so if I give each person a piece of chocolate, you get the one person who gets 10 pleasure points, the other one who gets 5. And so what we get is 15 pleasure points. Now, what if I just say, well, I know that if I give this one person 2 pieces of chocolate, they'll get 20 points. And so I withhold the chocolate from the person who gets 5, give 2 to the one who has 10. Now I have 20 points rather than a potential of 15. And so what you see is that one person gets 0, one person gets 20. And so we've maximized the qualitative effect of the pleasure principle. And we've done a little math, and we've determined, well, if we want to maximize pleasure, if that's the goal here, pluses versus minuses, then we want to, obviously we can see that we should give to the person who gets more pleasure out of it.